Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
WLBT's First Alert Weather Team is keeping you up to date with the latest information. From your morning commute to your afternoon drive, we're on your side, streaming on your favorite devices. WLBT First Alert Weather Plus.
WLBT's First Alert Weather Team is committed to your safety with 6 hours of continuous team coverage.
This is a relentless storm, Dave.
We're fortunate we all made it out alive.
And our network of sky cams across the state alerting you to danger, bringing you live footage of tornadoes as they touch down in Wathau County.
Look at this, Chase. Guys, look at that.
This is ground zero almost. I mean, this is really hard to stomach, like I said.
We take our commitment to being on your side seriously, and together we're Mississippi Strong.
Weekdays, stream First Alert Weather Plus.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
WLBT's First Alert Weather Team is keeping you up to date with the latest information. From your morning commute to your afternoon drive, we're on your side, streaming on your favorite devices. WLBT First Alert Weather Plus.
And good afternoon, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Dave Roberts here, along with meteorologist Elise Ushman. Happy Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
I suppose.
How you doing?
Fine. How are you?
A little frazzled, but I will just say that the certain store had a shipment come in at 10 a.m. this morning, and it's gone. All of it. Everything that was on the order, gone. So that's where we're at. And anyway. Yeah, I had to wait 45 minutes to find that out. But the bottom line is we have a winter storm watch in effect, and we expected this. There's nothing unexpected at this point. The only thing that's changed in our forecast, folks, is that we're now really just looking more towards not just Friday night, Saturday morning, but probably Saturday night and Sunday. And when I say Sunday.
And probably Sunday night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was going to say on Sunday. Anything with a Sunday in front of it.
Yes.
So, and that's the problem. And the real problem comes into play, I think, Sunday night with the temperatures getting really, really low.
Really low.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, this is your latest update. Winter weather alerts. We now have winter storm watches across the metro and areas to the north and west of the metro. Excuse me. These are from Friday through Sunday for the moment. Mm-hmm. And they could be expanded as we get a little bit closer
look how
to the event.
They are in the first place. I mean, they take up much of the country.
Yeah, most of the eastern half of the country is going to see impacts from this system. of some kind. Our impacts look like they're going to be dangerous cold and mixed precipitation still. Again, not looking at any significant changes from what we've been tracking other than maybe a slight shift in the timing. Now, before that gets here, it's raining today.
Yeah, it's drizzly.
It's drizzly. North of Interstate 20, it's more than drizzly. Got some heavier downpour south of I-20, mostly drizzles. This is going to continue on and off for the rest of the day. And even through the overnight hours, we'll still have some showers in the picture. Now, even though it's raining, it's actually warmer than it was yesterday. We've got temperatures in the upper 50s to even mid 60s in some cases. We'll still have scattered showers and very similar temperatures through your Thursday and into Friday morning. Friday afternoon is when things start to change. The colder air filters back into the area. And then Friday night, you start to see some of that pink showing up in the top. And that's where we could start to see maybe some mixed precipitation filtering into central Mississippi by early Saturday morning, because we'll still have precipitation chances in the picture, and we'll have the air that's cold enough to give us that changeover at that point. So we got to pick up where we left off with one of our longer range models here. This is worst case scenario. And it actually looks technically slightly better than yesterday.
Yeah, which is really funny, right?
Areas along and north of the trace still have the best chance to see accumulating totals of ice. South of the trace, you could end up with just cold rain from this system. But Saturday night into Sunday morning, we expect to see maybe more widespread mixed precipitation or winter-like precipitation. That continues throughout the day Sunday. And then overnight into Monday, we finally see this clear out. And that has been the general consensus, is that by Monday, we're done with the precipitation. The thing is, we're just not done with the freezing temperatures. So we've still got a pretty decent chance for you to see some accumulation of sleet, ice, maybe a flurry or two. The flurries are really not going to be for us, unfortunately, but definitely freezing temperatures. So our precipitation chances are high, our temperatures are low, and they get lower from Sunday night through Tuesday morning, where we could see lows in the teens.
Parts of North Mississippi could go to 0 degrees. By
So
the
that's
Tennessee
cold.
border, parts could go to 0 degrees.
So while we still could be dealing with some impacts from anything that is frozen heading into Monday, by Tuesday, we're well above freezing. So we'll certainly get out of
Whatever
these
this is.
unfortunate circumstances if we end up with ice on the road. Some places could miss the ice, but it doesn't look like most of us will miss the ice. Looks like most of us will see some ice.
What could go right? We hit 34 on Saturday. We hit 34 on Monday. We also could have lighter amounts of precipitation. If the system tracks further north, it's all better for us.
Mm-hmm.
If it tracks further south, it's worse for us. So a southern solution basically gives us even colder weather. A northern solution gives us less precipitation, and it would give us warmer conditions. And the reason I say that, I'm just discussing it as a meteorologist with Elise here. The reason I say that is because it's an overrunning situation.
Mm-hmm.
So the bad weather is going to be far, north of the actual system. Typically, when we talk about weather systems in the spring, it's always what's ahead of the front or south of the warm front before the cold front. This is actually behind the cold front is where all the weather is going to be. It's going to be in the colder air. So that's a story there.
That's the story.
Good times. Can you show them the real quick? Show them the ice forecast I made. I just want to show people where we're thinking there's going to be icing. I think. Yeah. Do you see it? That one. Yeah. That you got it. And this is right now through Monday at noon, where we're expecting ice accumulations. So you do see there's a fine line. Some areas south and east of Metro Jackson really aren't going to have much to worry about. It's just going to be a very cold rain. But it will still freeze at night. That's the thing.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference. We're all freezing at some point. We're talking about ice, though, falling from the sky in the form of freezing rain or sleet. Had a couple of good questions out there. I'm going to grab them out of the mix here. So give me a second. First off, Paul Ingram. I'm going to give Paul Ingram relationship advice. Paul Ingram is asking about Saturday. He's going to an Oxford wedding. He's telling Donna, I assume his significant other or wife, hopefully they're one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to wait and see. Paul, you're playing this all wrong. You should not be giving your opinion at all. She wants to wait and see. Let it be her decision. Trust me. when you start showing her road conditions, it'll be her decision and you're off the hook. Isn't that good advice?
I guess.
There you go. What do I know about relationships? You don't want to ask me. Okay, next question we had in here. There was someone who had a really good question. I want to find her question. Okay, Melanie Bracey asked a great question. Why are we getting ice, sleet versus snow? Could you have the diagram that we can pull up? And I can explain this one to you. Because we are stuck in a very weird spot. Okay, so what's going on here? And we fall into the situation a lot in the winter. It's shallow, cold air. Most places up north have cold air all throughout. That's why it snows in places quite often like Memphis, Little Rock, St. Louis, Cincinnati. They get into the cold air. When it's cold above and it's cold below, it starts out in the cloud as snow. It lands as snow. But when you've got a shallow, cold air mass like this is slicing through the clouds. So it's all about where the cold and warm air meet. And since it's shallow, it's closer to the ground. Cold air is dense. Warm air is not. And so what happens is the cold air kind of slithers like molasses across the Mississippi landscape. And the Gulf automatically starts pumping back the warm, moist air above it. And that warm air rises above it. And where the two kind of mix together, that's where you're going to get precipitation. Where it's cold enough, it will start as ice, sleet, and it falls into the cold air here, and we get sleet. But where it's not cold enough, it starts as rain. But the problem is when that rain starts in the warmer air, it then falls and lands in the form of freezing rain, meaning that the rain hits the ground, then freezes, whereas the sleet, it's already frozen before it hits the ground. So that's the real story there. And we had another question, Angela Dawn Doss. If just cold rain, does that mean the roads will turn to ice if not freezing rain, just cold rain? They will Sunday night, that's for sure. That's the problem. So I don't know how everybody escapes this. I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find you some little hope and in there. But at this point in time, we're going to continue. Unfortunately, we're going to have to stay on the longer range forecast models because they're really only going to tell us the true story right now through the weekend, because as the GFS was hinting yesterday, it's developing that second wave of precipitation, and that could be worse than the first. So do you have the one of those maps just to show the ice accumulation? I see the two in the middle of your workspace there. Either one will do. I wouldn't buy, here's the thing, don't buy stock in these numbers. They don't mean that much, but what they do mean is they're indicating where you're going to have problems. Now, the Euro is being very kind to Macomb and McGee. So if you live close to either of those places and the Euro works out, it's great. But unfortunately, the Euro still indicates for Jackson, for instance, hazardous roads. There will be tree limbs breaking, and it's a much worse situation, say, around Belzona. And it's a trickier situation near Vicksburg. And that's really playing out to where this winter storm watch is in effect. So I think this gives us a really good idea as to what we're going to see going forward into this event. So pick out your little town here on the map. If you can hit the other one real quick, just to show the kids. And this one shows some other towns that you can look at too. And you can see Tylertown's in a much better spot. Brookhaven's in a much better spot. But we're not saying you're totally out of the woods, because the GFS is telling you that there's still going to be some icing. But we didn't have any places yesterday on these maps that were indicating zero.
Right.
We did not have anything yesterday that was indicating zero. So that's why I'm saying, Elise brought up a good point. The worst case is maybe not as bad as we thought it was going to be, but ice is ice. So don't focus on how much accumulation out there, because it's really irrelevant. Once you break the thresholds, that's all that matters. It's kind of like, what's the difference between 6 inches and 10 inches of snow? It's not a world of difference. You have to still plow it. I mean, it's not like you could say, oh, well, 6 inches, we don't have to worry about it. No. So that's the story there. But that's the thing. And I still feel there's a little potential that this ends with snow flurries at the very tail end. Yeah. Because I think it's going to get that cold, but the moisture could get really dried up quick. That's the other problem. It's going to get so cold. But this is, I was telling Elise, yesterday, it's one of the worst forecasts that I've seen in the, and I've been here a few times in Mississippi now, lived a few times in Mississippi. This is a really rough one. It's very bad. It's going to tax the power grid across the country. It's going to tax transportation across the country. It's a big deal. So you need to prepare for it and be ready. And if it's not so bad, be thankful. Okay, that's all I can tell you. But areas from Metro Jackson north and westward, that's where you need to be most concerned about this weather. And then eventually we all freeze. Sunday night and Monday morning, we're going to see freezing temperatures. And Monday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning, we're going to have very cold temperatures again. So we're going to be dealing with cold weather. And, my biggest concern, honestly, out of all of this is power failures.
Yes.
The roads are going to be bad. We know that. I mean,
yeah.
you don't honestly, you don't need a meteorologist to tell you that. You just look at the information I'm giving you. So we're beyond that discussion. What we're talking about now is, can the power grid hold on to this stuff? And, there's some folks in the power grid that are saying, oh, Dave, don't hype people up. But the reality is some of these are thresholds on the screen there, and they could have an impact on what's going to happen. So that's the story there. All right, y'all. Listen, we've given you as about a detailed forecast as we can. We put all the maps on there. If you missed any of this, don't worry. It's on Facebook. Go back and watch it. Again, you want a town-specific forecast that we haven't mentioned, even though we've literally listed every populated place in central and southwest Mississippi in the last couple of maps. Don't be afraid to go to our free First Alert weather app. It also will have your hour-by-hour forecast for the next couple of days, but our forecast remains unchanged really for this weekend, except that we've extended it. It's going to be a longer duration event, which doesn't work in anybody's favor. I am praying we get above 32 degrees on Sunday, just as I think we're going to get above it on Saturday. And, Elise, good teamwork with you, because the last few days we have bucked the trends. We have not bought into the forecast models, and we could have, because we were looking at each other. What's today? Wednesday. We were looking at each other Monday and Tuesday, and we were thinking, are we going to keep the temperatures below freezing Saturday? And the models wanted us to do that, and we both said no. We think it's going to be a little just warm enough, mid-30s. Didn't I say I'm hoping for 35 and rain? And that's people are like, who wants 35 and rain? Listen, that's what we need. And for many places that will see it. But unfortunately, north and west of the Jackson metro area, you are not going to be that lucky. That's the problem. And the northern part of our state is going to be covered in ice. And then closer to the Tennessee border, it's going to be covered in several inches of snow. So we're going to have a system that impacts the deep south from New Mexico to New York for several days. And y'all are saying, Dave, you're hyping this up. You're making a big deal. I don't make a big deal over stuff. I don't need to. I don't need to tell you something that's bad is bad. You know that. But I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing here, as is Elise. And we've been talking consistently about the same thing for the past few days. We could sit here and tell you about daisies and roses and beautiful little ponies, but we have to tell you the forecast. That's our job, and we got to call it like we see it. So Metro Jackson, north and westward, a winter storm watch, a rare one, but a winter storm watch is currently in effect. Would not be surprised if that does get upgraded to an ice storm warning at some point in the near future. Much of the deep south going under a winter storm watch. I am anticipating that the air travel will start being restricted across the deep south beginning Friday, and that will extend through the weekend. So if you are planning on traveling, I would tell you to get out of Dodge tomorrow or Friday. If you do have an airline flight, you can move your ticket. Otherwise, we are probably going to be looking at extensive delays. And, they don't fly planes in freezing rain. Just so you know, those days are over. This ain't 1953, okay, where they're flying old-time aircraft. This is more of a science these days, and they don't even like to put planes in those situations. So from a liability standpoint, a safety standpoint, there's a whole bunch of reasons why they don't do that. So anyway, just be aware that that's likely to start happening here within the next 48 hours. Airlines are already planning it. I'm sure if you contact your airline, they'll probably let you change your flight free of charge anyway, since they see what's going on. This is not a surprise to them, trust me. So that's our story there, folks. We're going to be really busy as we continue to update you over the coming days. We are staffing up for the weekend. We're going to be providing you with extra coverage, so don't worry about that. In fact, I've got a meeting I've got to go to in a few minutes to discuss all of those plans, but I want you to know that we're going to be on top of it, and we are going to be monitoring the situation for you very closely. If there are any significant changes, you know where you're going to find out about it first, right here on WLBT, the free First Alert weather app, your streaming apps on your TV, and also WLBT.com. Elise, we can catch you up.
I think on Studio 3.
You think on Studio 3?
I
But you know
think
what?
so.
If not Studio 3, let's promise them WLBT News at 4 and 4:30.
I promise.
Okay. And then I'll be on WLBT News at 5 and 6, giving you all the very latest information to get you ready for this storm system that's going to be impacting a good portion of the country. Real quick, can you just pop that map just to show folks how extensive these watches really are? I mean, they cover a large part of the country, several states. So this is going to be a big deal. The national news will be definitely talking about it, and we will continue to monitor this and give you the very latest. Y'all have a great rest of the afternoon. We're back here at 6:30, by the way, with new information to share with you on this developing storm system. Until then, y'all stay safe. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes of your day with us. We do appreciate you.